Okay, so this is prone position. It's a position that we love to use in our body work because we get access to the back lines, the yang lines. It's not necessarily the most comfortable because the head is on the floor at the same level as the body. So for receivers, you want to encourage your receivers to turn their heads as often as they wish so that they stay comfortable. Some alternate positions are to have the hands under the forehead, also to have support underneath the chest like a set of blankets so that there's more space for the head to recline a little bit. Marie seems to be quite happy in this position. Yep. So what we're going to do to begin is rotate the legs internally. So I'm going to support the ankles using the quality of touch that we practiced this morning in the hold, in the listening practice. And just take a moment when I first connect with her to turn on the subtle listening receptors within my hands and the rest of my body. And even that she can feel. And I'm simply going to lift up her legs and bring the knees a little bit closer together as I traction the legs, and then turn the heels out, toes in, so that there's a slight internal rotation to her feet. Keeping this contact with her feet, I'm going to stand up and make contact with my feet. So you can use one foot at a time for balance. If you feel balanced, you can use both feet. And here I meet the arch of her foot with the ball of my foot. They get married and they run away on a honeymoon. Just using this simple rocking movement from side to side to create a rhythm like a metronome. The slower I move, the more likely that she will invite me in. So we can actually spend quite a bit of time here at the beginning of the sequence just to drop in ourselves and to encourage our receivers to drop in. I'm going to take one foot at a time so I keep contact with my partner. Take a hold of the foot with one hand and then the opposite foot with the other. I want to come to kneeling around her knees so that I'm bracing her outer knees with my inner knees. And then I place my hands cupped over the heels and bring my forearms so that they run along the sole of her foot. I'm bringing her shins vertical and I'll breathe in. As I exhale, I sink my elbows straight down to stretch the soles of her feet. I inhale, rise up, exhale, as I sink through my elbows mostly. My whole body is going along for the ride, but it's really the elbows that are stretching the soles of the feet. And I go slow. Don't need to turn the volume all the way up. You can crank it up slowly. Keeping the feet here, I can easily bring the feet towards one another. The big toe joint of one foot fits nicely into the arch of the opposite foot. So I bring the feet together like that. And I can either use one hand on the feet and then the forearm on the sacrum, like so. I'm tractioning the sacrum towards me, away from the receiver's head. If it feels comfortable for you, you can use your chest and bring both arms to support the sacrum. And most of my energy is on tractioning. And then I lean forward as I traction. As I release up, I hold the feet. And then I'm going to start working on one side. So I'll release the foot in my right hand. I'm going to begin walking on the hamstring. So I'll take her knee just slightly wider than her hips. I step to the inside and use my right foot to nest right behind her knee crease. Here I can wrap her toes on the opposite side of my shin as a little foothold, and then keeping my foot soft, I bring the body weight in. I keep my foot relaxed, and I'm really invoking a static quality to this movement, so it's more of a static technique where we sink and we hold. As I'm holding, I'm trying to spread the weight evenly through my foot so that there's not more pressure on the pinky toe side or the big toe side, but it's even through the entire foot. And I wait with her. I give her time to receive and accept the body weight. As my stance widens from side to side, I can actually bring more body weight in. So if you're looking to add body weight, you can adjust your stance wider. If it's too much and you're working on someone smaller, you can narrow your stance. And we'll work in this way. Next, we'll be moving to a technique at the hip joint here, where we find the femur bone going into the hip socket. I'm going to demonstrate this on the other side so that we can see it best on camera. So I'm going to bring the knee back towards the midline here. And I'm going to be setting myself up so that I'm in line with where I want to pour my weight down, which is right here at the gluteal fold, just sort of below the butt. And her leg, when I cross it this way towards the straight leg, the bone here is going to start to lift up. It's just a natural action. So as her bone lifts up, it'll help me to feel where is it. And then when I find it, I sink down, and then the leg comes back as I press down and root the femur back into a sort of a square position with the hips. Okay. So again, I bring the bent leg towards the straight leg. The hip rises. It shows me where I can place my hand to connect with the head of the femur at the back of the femur. And as I sink through my hand, this foot, if I let go, the leg moves on its own like that. So my hand is here. It's supporting, but it's not driving. It's following. My right hand is sinking. And this technique can be quite slow, or it can turn into a more dynamic technique, which creates an egg beater effect of the legs. And I even move down towards the hamstring. So all of these connection points here between the back of the leg, the back of the thigh, and the sacroiliac area coming through the glute, all of this is being touched when we sink here. Excellent technique for range of movement in the hip. Okay, so we would do that for both sides, starting first with the hamstring technique here, walking, and then the technique for the glute hamstring piriformis area. Call it the big lazy area. It's one of Arnaud's favorite ways to call that muscle group, especially the glute. Okay, so we'll finish with that, both sides, and then we'll come to the upper body. So I'm going to ask Marie to turn her head towards me. And then with her arms alongside her body, I'm going to come facing her side, like so, and place my left hand on her sacrum here. So this hand is going to create a metronome effect. First, I want to make sure that I'm connected to the bone, so I let my hand sink. Feel the bone, kind of like I'm nesting without much body weight. And then once I have it, then I'm doing as much listening as I am sending an impulse. So I'm listening, but I'm also sending an impulse now and making the movement a little bigger. I don't want to rush it. I want to synchronize this rhythm with her body so that her body accepts it and follows. And when that's working nicely, I use the chubby part of my wrist, especially the pinky side, to sink into the muscles alongside the spine, away from where I am. Not on this side, but on the far side. So I can place my hand there and just feel where to go. The muscle, the erector spinae that runs along the spine, will move away from the spine when I press down. So you're not pressing on the spine, you're pressing down onto that muscle, which is moving away from the spine. This technique will work very nicely for the thoracic part of the back. So it's this little hill here. What we won't work on is the cervical and the lumbar spine. Those parts of the back will use different techniques for. This is primarily for the thoracic. So here I'm creating the metronome and following with my right hand and syncing. The metronome pulse with my left hand and then following with my right hand and syncing. If you get happy with this, you can get both hands working together. I'm still initiating the pulse with my left hand and following with my right. So I want to stay receptive through the right hand. Most of the body weight is here. This is the hand that's working. This hand is just rocking. And then to switch sides, I'll keep a little bit of rocking going. And I ninja-like shift my way to the other side. And I start once again just feeling for the muscles on the far side of the spine. My energy is sinking down, and you'll get the muscles moving away from the spine automatically, just in the way that your body is situated here. And then we can move a little bit faster. So I would have her turn her head before I start doing this side. I forgot to ask you to do that. Yeah, so that way we don't compress the neck here. And like that. When you finish both sides, it's nice just to give your partner a little bit of rocking here on the legs. And then I'm going to hold her hips. She'll place her hands under her shoulders. And we'll bring her back towards child's pose. Knees wide for the receiver. Head relaxed. And if her knees are comfortable in this position, I'm going to pour weight through my palms, fingers out to the sides. And press down on the quads as a way to release. And in so doing, I really like this because it helps me ground myself as I seal the offering.